This is the last part of the interview, and it's the part where everything changes. A journalist asks Traore about 60% of Burkina Faso being under terrorist control. Watch what happens next.
But, Mr. President, more than 60% of Burkina Faso, the majority of the country, is controlled by jihadists. Is this approach working?
Who said that?
It is a fact.
The same media, the same governments. They take Burkina and color it red. That is false. I am the head of state. And besides, we just discussed assassination attempts and everything. And there is a whole city. There are just a few towns I have not yet visited. I go everywhere, and everyone goes everywhere. So in the north, I just said our forces are as far as Petoli. Today, in the east, toward the Beninese border, our forces took Nadiagu 1 or 2 weeks ago. Right now, they are at Ponu near the border. Where we supposedly cannot go, that is a lie. They are lying. Everything is completely false. If it were as you say, we would not be going around here by car. We would not be driving around. We would not be organizing events. There were even people who said recently that Djibo had fallen. At the very same time, there was a football competition in Djibo that closed just a few days ago. They lie. The art of lying, it is in the Western media. Many of these mainstream media, as I like to say, do nothing but lie to sell you false information and make you believe everything is going wrong. On the contrary, many things are going well here. Our economy is doing very well, and we are advancing. So what you read on the internet, be careful.
Did Russia advise you to manage your online image?
Why? I do not need that. Africans do it of their own accord. Many of your populations in Europe do it of their own accord. Do you think all these people, we are helping them, paying them or something? No. I think people have seen our fight. They have understood our fight. And you see, it is this habit people have, paying people to manage what exactly? Why help someone manage their online image? No, no, no. We are beyond that. Media have approached us to do that. We said we do not pay. We do not do that. Go ahead and damage our image. Jeune Afrique, RFI, whatever. We are never going to pay for that. Before, it was done, and even where money was being spent, I shut it all down. We no longer pay anything, because when you have a state company, they make them take shares in their media. Taking a share in a media, that is not a return on investment, it is they who come and smear our image. Our populations know what we are doing. Africans know what we are doing. Populations who want a just world know what we are doing. So of their own initiative, people speak of the good things we do, because what we do is also just. Our fight is just. So we do not pay anyone to clean up our image, and to blame the Russians for such things. Everything is the Russians. The Russians. Do you believe that Africans are not capable of doing something on their own? That Russia has to hold everyone's hand all the time? Leave them alone. The Russians are in their own fight over there, but do not believe they are in a slave-master mindset as people think. They do not interfere in the affairs of others, and that is what I appreciate about them.
Very well. On the subject of new strategic partnerships, notably with Russia, it cannot be said that it is pleasant times for Russia's allies, particularly Venezuela and Iran. So, Mr. President, do you see the Black Winter coming all the way to Ouagadougou? Does the thought cross your mind that you could one day be overthrown or judged somewhere else? Can the Black Winter extend all the way to Burkina?
You know, Africans have a problem. And the major problem is wanting to believe that someone else will fight your battle for you. I just explained this at length. We, from the very beginning, I told you, we received all kinds of offers, not just from Russia. Many countries offered to send troops to help us and everything. We said no, no, and no, because I have instilled a mentality in the military leadership and everyone. Our fight is ours first. Our security is ours first. No one will do it for you. If someone else does it, those are no longer your lands. First of all, if someone has to ensure your security for you, it is not your security. You are being held. And if you have to be taught security procedures by someone else, it means they know your procedures. They know everything. And if you form an alliance thinking that in case of trouble, your ally will come and fight for you, you have it all wrong. And I keep saying this to those close to me and to others, count on yourself first. And when you count on yourself and develop your own tools, you have no fear a priori. That is very important. So no, we do not rely on others. And if there are Russian allies who have been counting on Russia for certain events, that is their problem. I do not count on Russia being there in the first hours if something happens here. No, I do not count on that. The only support Russia can provide is if I want to buy something to defend myself and they agree to sell it to me. That is all. But you do not ask allies to come and die for you. Why? Are you not human beings? If you behave like that, you are putting yourself in the position of a second-class human, meaning you are not human beings on the same level as others. But that is the horror many people commit, even heads of state whose security is ensured by foreign nationals. That is not serious. Second thing, how many heads of state, even when their own men provide security, send them abroad to be trained? That means we lack the intelligence to develop something ourselves. If you send your security detail to be trained elsewhere, it means those people know your procedures. They know everything around you. So you have achieved nothing. You sit there thinking you are dressed, but you are naked. So there are many things Africans must take into account, and that others too must take into account. We like to say in the village, when someone washes your back, be quick to wash your own face. So if there are strategic alliances that provide support in certain spheres, the rest, you must develop yourself. Just as with the military industry, we are in Africa, sitting idle. We urgently purchased equipment to contain our threat. But do you think we will continue like that? In any case, not Burkina, because our mentality is different. From now on, we will produce military equipment for ourselves. And if people want it, we will sell it to them. Because I am convinced, we have brains too. We think, we are not stupid. But if you behave as if you are, you yourselves are showing others that you are stupid. You produce nothing, and you have no intention of producing anything. You develop nothing, neither tactically nor technically. You always lean on others, but you are not human beings in that case. You must not count on others. Count on yourself first. And that is at the individual scale in Burkina. Every Burkinabe must count on himself first. And the revolution is that mentality. Before, the world sat back and said, it is the state. It is the state. We are changing that. You must count on yourself first before calling on the state, and all the way up to the state level. It is the same. That is what I can say. So there is no fear. We have a system we have developed, which we are perfecting as we go. But no one comes to show us things, to teach us anything. As long as God has given us a brain, we use our brain to think.
Your Excellency, the visit of Nick Cheek from the U.S. State Department to Ouagadougou, does it signal a rapprochement with the West?
Oh yes, I followed that. They asked to come and exchange with us. I believe it was the Minister of Foreign Affairs who exchanged with them, and somewhat also in line with developments. In fact, people must understand something. We are opposed to no one. We are not against anyone, but we are against those who do not respect us and who do not want to accept our sovereignty, our independence. Even today, France is not our enemy. As I said, French leaders have a policy, but the French people, how many French people support us? How many French people, even in the media we talk about, fight for the truth? How many influencers or whatever, French people who make videos on social media in support of us? There are many. There are very many. I salute them in passing. We do not even know them personally, but they see our fight. Whoever wants to cooperate with us, no problem. But when you come and want to show that you are superior to us, it is over. You leave. But if You have understood that you must come and deal as equals, man to man. No problem. We can talk business. Everyone does business in the world. But imagine you come and say, okay, I will take your gold and give you 10%. In Burkina, that no longer works. If you come, we discuss. What do you bring? We bring 100% of the resource. Depending on what you bring, we can evaluate and say, fine, we give you 40% or 45% or even 50%, and we shake on it. And that is a discussion. But if you do not want that, if you come with the mindset that these are people we can just take from, that does not work. So whoever wants to work, wants to do business in Burkina, come with the right spirit and we will do it. Even tomorrow, if French entrepreneurs think they can invest in Burkina, they are welcome. But if they come with the mindset of a master coming to deal with slaves, we will put them out the door, and that is the end of it. And if you come wanting to deal intelligently, without ulterior motives, we discuss, the contract is clear. If you step outside the contract, we tell you to go home. That is the respect of our sovereignty, our independence. That is very important.
Why do you think young people love you?
Why do I think young people love me? I do not know that myself. I cannot judge that. It is perhaps due to the ideology we are developing. Take the health side. We are equipping our hospitals with all possible technologies. Healthcare costs have drastically fallen. Will young people love that or not? Medicines, prices have come down. That has nothing to do with the situation even in Europe. Take the infrastructure domain. We are building our roads ourselves. Young people gain employment because the road agency employs thousands of young Burkinabe. Will young people love that or not? In agriculture, we have provided the means. We have purchased thousands of tractors that cultivate the fields of many farmers for free, and for large fields it is subsidized. Will all people want to see that or not? We produced a record harvest this year. Since Burkina has existed, we have never produced like this. Is that positive or not? Everyone will eat their fill, purchasing power increases. We are creating industries to transform our raw materials. Will young people love that or not? Young people will be employed to run the factories, in mechanics and everything. Then we take transport, even urban transport. We saw we were very far behind. We decided in a first phase to procure at least 500 buses to transport people. That means many people who could not move around will be able to, and that creates employment. For 500 buses alone, just the drivers, you have 1,000 people employed. Is that good or not? So in every domain, we are evolving. That is what young people see as positive, what they appreciate. And I appreciate that. It is not me personally they love. It is the ideology they love. And it is perhaps this ideology they want to see duplicated everywhere, so they can live with dignity. Take education. We are building amphitheaters for our universities. Look at the state our students were in. It was terrible. We created university centers everywhere, but not a single amphitheater. Students wandered around the city like that. But today, we are building amphitheaters everywhere to give them a little dignity. Very soon, it will be student residences, because they do not even know where to live. Some sleep on the floor at the university. We need to help them have housing. The university restaurant, we need to help them be able to eat. Is that good or not? For schools, children's education. Children often do not even have schools. Today, we have taken on models and are building properly constructed multi-story buildings with appropriately reduced class sizes. Otherwise, you go into classrooms of 100, 200 students. Can the teacher even teach? Can they really work? The teacher himself suffers in there. We are adapting everything to bring down class sizes, build proper classrooms, provide all the necessary tools. Is that good or not? That is what we are doing. The well-being of our population. And everywhere in Burkina, health centers, we have put a project in place. We have already built nearly 40, and every year that will continue. And in these health centers, there will be doctors assigned so that if someone has appendicitis, a fracture, or something, you can no longer say we cannot operate here and must send them to the city. I travel around my country. I have been to villages, to provincial capitals, hundreds of kilometers from Ouagadougou, where when a woman is pregnant and needs an ultrasound scan every month over 9 months, she has to be brought to Ouagadougou each time. I am against that, so I am putting ultrasound machines in place there, improving the level of care. Is that good or not? We have recruited doctors. It is the first time, in fact it is a first in Africa. We have launched a 1000 times 5 program, 1,000 specialists to be assigned everywhere so that care is brought closer to the population. Is that good or not? Do your media speak about that? Everything I am citing, there is so much more. But no, they do not speak about it. They paint our map red. Our country has disappeared. Nothing is going well here. Now you understand why I said, in fact, there is freedom here. There is everything here. But they do not want that. They do not want us to flourish like this. They want to smear our image. But you can travel around. Everything I say is verifiable. And that is what the youth wants to see. And that is what we are doing.
Captain President, you're certainly admired by young people. What you embody for a large part of African youth is a hope for dignity, for awakening. Hope can also generate immense impatience. So what message of truth do you address to these young people watching you from Bobo Dioulasso, Ziniare, Kaya, Lomé, Bamako, Dakar, or Abidjan, who are waiting for the Africa of your generation to finally be the Africa of results?
Comrade President, I cannot pretend that my ideology, so to speak, will spread across Africa. It is up to the people everywhere to take their responsibilities, and I say this, and to demand certain things from their leaders. There are leaders who are compromised. They call us. They often tell us, you are on the right path, but we cannot do as you do because, well, it is difficult. Some have their wealth in banks in Europe and everything. If they try something, everything will be blocked. I say to some of them, have the courage to come out and say to your people, listen, we behaved badly. We stole billions and put them in banks in Switzerland or wherever. But from now on, I accept to work for you, forgive me, and let us start fresh on new foundations. There are also those who have been compromised by the same affairs that you see, Epstein and all that. They go to Europe, they are put up in hotels, filmed in compromising situations, and then held with that. You do this, or we put this scandal out against you. Have the courage to say to your people, I messed up, forgive me, and let us move on to a new phase. Failing that, let young people wake up and demand what we are doing here. It is not extraordinary, but they can demand the same from their leaders. Burkina is not the richest country, but what we are doing in terms of road infrastructure. Which country in Africa, especially in West Africa, has good road infrastructure, a sufficiently dense network? We still need to build our roads, which is fundamental. When people go to Europe, all the cities, all the streets are tarmacked. You are happy, you walk around, you take selfies in the streets of Europe, the United States and everything. You cannot do that here. But everyone sees that we are acquiring a lot of machines to do it ourselves, and people know that in the near future we are going to make a great leap. Because if we keep going to the market to bring in foreign companies, we cannot. So we buy our machines, we have confidence in our youth, we put them to work, but all countries can do this. Why don't they? So young people must find the mechanism first of all to approach their leaders very peacefully and say, this is what we want. Put us to work with concrete solutions and bring them to do it. If they do not do it, find a way to put pressure on them to do it. Now, if the leader is incapable of doing it and is bound by those around him, let him have the courage to say so and resign. Otherwise, I cannot by magic change things. Young people are impatient. That is true. When I take Burkina, everyone wants everything immediately. When I take the brigades we are building for the roads, we started with Ouagadougou Bobo, then Koudougou. But others must be patient. It is coming. Everyone will have their brigade. everyone will have their roads, but I cannot do it like that with the snap of a finger. So first there is patience, there is method. Many people want to see everything at once. Impossible. We are coming from very far back. I like to tell people, our countries are in the 1800s. We must accept that, give ourselves a vision, and launch the machine with a little patience. So the message to the regional youth is to find the formula, to make the connection with leaders, bring them to do what they want, and there are many things that we do. When we nationalize certain industrial units and so on, people do not understand. But it takes courage too. In Burkina even, there are people who did not know that certain industrial units existed. Some did not know they did not belong to Burkina. It was only when we started taking back control little by little that even some intellectuals realized, so this unit did not belong to Burkina. Yet it did not belong to us. But it is up to young people to demand that the state take back its responsibilities. We grow cotton. It is others who set the price of cotton, because even our companies that managed cotton did not belong to us. And today, we are building large industrial units, so that from raw cotton all the way to the finished product, it is us. Everyone can do this. So no one will come and fix the price of our cotton because we transform it. Instead of selling cotton, we will sell thread if you want, or we sell fabric if you want. Cotton enters healthcare everywhere. Bandages, compresses. We buy all of it from outside, but it is our cotton. Africa can do this. Some countries are the world's top cocoa producers, but they do not set the price of cocoa. Africa must wake up. Africa must seek knowledge. Wake up and seek knowledge. Seek to know many things about our lives, our identity, and leave ignorance behind. And it is only at that price that we will become ourselves again, develop, and have people see us as human beings too. Because for now, I am sorry to say it, there are African states whose way of operating and everything makes it impossible to respect them. It is not possible. So that is a little of what I can say to this youth, whether Burkinabe or African. We must wake up. It is possible. It is possible. Let us believe in ourselves. It is possible. Everyone has a brain. Everyone can do more than they are doing. You are a journalist. If you dig deep enough in your mind, you can be a mechanical engineer. Perhaps you can be an electrical engineer. I am convinced of one thing. God has given capacity to everyone, and we cannot be limited to just one thing. We can do many things, and that is what I try to instill in young people. I meet many young people and encourage them to develop many things. It is possible. We have been put to sleep. Look at social media. That is what we have been fed. We are sleeping. Let us wake up.
Yes, Mr. President, Africa must wake up. You just said so. Burkina Faso is perhaps on that path. 1 year after the proclamation of the Popular Progressive Revolution, what address do you have for this youth we have just spoken of, and for the Burkinabe people in their entirety?
I return to certain words once more. Africans must stop deluding themselves. Democracy, as it has been presented to us, does not develop anyone. That is false. All peoples went through a revolution before arriving at democracy. And as I say to people, if we accept that we are in the 1800s compared to developed countries, a true revolution is needed. Revolution in behavior, that is to say, a revolution in mindset, an industrial revolution, revolution in all sectors, to try to create, to become ourselves, to make up for this delay. Democracy as it is flattered. You see many of our intellectuals who went to school. Democracy, democracy. They do not even know what it is. Those same ones who shout it. If you catch them and say, okay, democracy, we kill children. Democracy, we drop bombs, we kill women, we destroy hospitals, we kill civilian populations. That is democracy. They act as if they do not see that. Their eyes are shut. African young people must. This notion of democracy is false. It is just a stick that people hold and wave at Africans and certain peoples. That is all. So we must forget the notion of democracy. We must take the revolutionary spirit, revolutionize our lives. And the revolutionary spirit demands a great deal of sacrifice, because, as I said, mindsets have been destroyed. Look, in some countries in Africa, young people cannot even sit down and have a serious discussion about the future of their country. All they know how to do is social media gossip. That is what interests them, futility. We must leave that behind. I often say when I go out, young people must come back to science. We cannot continue to have a youth whose entire occupation is to make comedy, to do futile things on social media and dance randomly. That will lead us nowhere. And when you look at the so-called influencers who make those videos, a young man here or a girl there doing nonsense, those are the ones with millions of views. But a young person sitting down, showing how a tool can be made, or mechanics, or a medical instrument, they get no audience, nobody. Those pages are not even looked at. Or a young person raising awareness, making videos to awaken consciences, very few followers. But Africa cannot get out of this as things are. I am sorry. If we continue like this, we will remain slaves forever. These are truths. Some will say a head of state should not say such raw things. Those same intellectuals, go ask them. They went to school for heads of state to tell them what a head of state must do, or what the state must do, or must not do. Let us believe in ourselves, and it is also important that at a certain level, we give young people the opportunity to express themselves. When I say the opportunity to express themselves, what does that mean? In Africa, we have a very bad habit. When you want to give work to a young person, experience. He does not have experience. He does not have experience. We have no confidence in young people. But where is he going to get experience? In Europe, there are young people of 19, by God's grace, who create things and are given the opportunity to do so. Here, experience. Last time I was joking with a minister, because in our procurement procedures here, I had the similar market clause removed, and if you do not give them the opportunity to do the first contract, how will they ever have one? I removed many conditions. One minister said, "We must be careful." Careful about what? I said, "It is our job to put everything in place so the young person is kept on the right path and does what he must do." But if you say experience, did you have the experience of being minister before I named you minister? People laughed. Let us also have confidence in young people. And that is important. If we wake up, if we believe in ourselves, and if we are given the space, I believe Africa can get out of this. If not, we should not flatter ourselves. Everything we do will create small Eldorados. A few countries will develop, but the great mass will go nowhere. We will continue to die in the ocean. Because Burkina alone, if I take Burkina's case, if we alone develop, why are we preaching for the whole world? We cannot take in the entire African mass that wants to work. That is impossible. But if we do not do it together, how do we do it? Everyone has an interest in waking up, and I believe a better future is possible. Africa has all the potential. Everything. There is no explanation for there being oil in abundance in Niger, in Mali, and for those countries not developing shortly, like the Gulf countries that also have oil. There is no explanation. There is no explanation for us having here certain products from which we cannot develop as certain. And young people have their say, without manipulation, with respect, they must be able to say so. If not, a revolution is needed. That is clear and simple.
Thank you, Mr. President. So we have come to the end of this interview. The first to have brought together here at the Palace of Kuluba, Burkinabe, African and Western media. Thank you once again for this openness to the press and for all the answers provided to the concerns of my colleagues.
Thank you also for your interest.